All right, let's get started. Good morning, STrEAM Academy community, family, and friends. I'm your host, Principal Adam Okelke, and with me, as always, is my trusty sidekick, Mrs. Beyondich, our administrative assistant extraordinaire. Morning, Mrs. Beyondich.
Good morning, Principal Mokelke. It's a great day at school.
It's a great day to be working from my home office. I do want to share, of course, our beautiful mission statement that Anchored STrEAM Academy empowers students to be involved learners, critical thinkers, and engaged citizens who are inspired by the natural world. The natural world has been cold and snowy lately, but I hope we're still getting outside and enjoying it. I know I am. When we had our last learning lab on Tuesday and took students out in the park, walked the loop through Muldoon Park. Then later on in the afternoon, when I had a minute, I went and ran some laps in that park in the snow. It's nice and brisk. I see a lot of people out skiing, just enjoying our outdoors. It is Wednesday, the 3rd of March today. And what do we have on tap for STrEAM Academy today? I'll give you some updates and share some important items and events. We will get an update from our 501c3. I'll touch base as promised on what our plans are for fourth quarter, what your options are as parents, what that looks like going forward. We have some really special guests on today. We have Mr. George Martinez joining us. George is a mayoral candidate in Anchorage. I want to make sure that we are clear that STrEAM Academy does not endorse any particular candidate, but Mr. Martinez, as well as other folks who are in office or we're running for office, have joined us on Morning Coffee to share perspectives on the community and their service. And so he is on this morning to talk to us about community service and being an engaged citizen. We're excited about that. We also have some awesome guests to talk about from East High School to talk about transitions to 8th grade with our counselor, Amy Bonards. We have First Sergeant Watts, and we have Mr. Robert Everett, counselor. And First Sergeant Watts is with the ROTC team over at East, and Mr. Everett's counselor over at East. And we're excited to talk to them about transitioning to 8th grade today. That's what we've got on the docket. Some upcoming dates and things to remember. There's no school Friday. Friday's a grading day for teachers to wrap up quarter 3. Hard to believe, but the 3rd quarter is already over or almost over. So teachers will be working on Friday, but there's no school for students on Friday as we launch into spring break. Spring break. We will be back from spring break, back to school on the 15th, Monday, the 15th of March. And we'll get into those details on how those first couple weeks look as we do every week. First week will be virtual, and then we'll come back in person. Morning Coffee returns on March 17th. We will talk spring fundraising with our nonprofit, our 501c3. We have some more transition options for students. Ms. Bonards arranged for Highland and Stellar to join us on the 17th to talk about their programs. And we have a 501c, an APC meeting. Our board meets that night of the 17th. So it'll be a busy day, busy week. And then on the 18th is our next 501c3 meeting. It's a lot going on. So as promised, each week we spend a moment talking about our plans for fourth quarter. We begin fourth quarter, back to school, starting fourth quarter classes, new classes on Monday, March 15th. Our APC elected at our last meeting to keep STrEAM Academy virtual for that first week back as a transition back from spring break and a transition to in-person learning. So it's an important distinction because regular ASD schools will be back in person face-to-face the week of the 15th. Our school is going to take that week as a bridge week, and our classes will be virtual just that first week back, the 15th, they'll be virtual. And so students should watch for, and parents should watch for emails. Our staff will send out emails on Friday, welcome emails for new classes for fourth quarter with all the links. The links will also be available in Canvas. New schedules available in Q. So parents, students can look for those emails, for those links, and log into their new classes virtually the week of the 15th. Then the following week is our return to in-person. Monday, the 22nd, we return to in-person classes, 8:00 a.m. to 1 p.m. Release at 1 o'clock. Students are in the building Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Our APC elected to keep Wednesday as a virtual working Wednesday for the remainder of the year. Students will have live Zoom classes. They're required to attend. Wednesday is going to look different in fourth quarter. It's not the asynchronous working day that it's been. It is synchronous, and the expectation is students log on, have attendance taken, and they're present, whether you're in person or hybrid. You're present on Zooms on Wednesday. Remember, STrEAM families, you may elect to keep your students home in the STREAM hybrid program. You'll be enrolled in the same classes with the same students and the same teachers, either way. So it's not a separate, really a totally separate thing. It's just you let us know that you'd like to keep your child home and that you're going to do your classes online asynchronously. You'll still have Zooms on Wednesdays to log in and connect with teachers and with your classmates. So that is what fourth quarter looks like for STREAM Academy. All right, we have George Martinez joining us, perfect timing. If you have any questions about returning to in-person learning or staying hybrid or just how any of this is going to look, we have a letter that has been mailed out. We've used Mrs. Beyondich as an advocate of using some good old-fashioned snail mail and making sure you got something in the mail that said, this is what's happening fourth quarter. I also will send that letter out today on email, on Blackboard, and it's posted on my blog, on our website. So there's lots of ways to get the information and the schedules and everything kind of broken down as best we could on what it looks like. And then of course, the real detailed information on your specific classes and links and stuff will come from your teachers. So watch for that. Mrs. Beyondich, before we introduce Mr. Martinez, would you like to give a quick update on the actions of the 501c3?
Absolutely. Our 501c3 has been actively working this spring to create 2 fundraisers that are going to support Anchorage STREAM Academy. One of them will be our PETAs for a Purpose, which is March 28th. So come to any PETA pit in Anchorage on Sunday, March 28th, and 10% of their gross sales will go to Anchorage STREAM Academy. We're also designing an online basket auction, which is going to be in 2 waves, starting April 30th, and then the next week more baskets will come live, and then it will ultimately close in a Facebook Live event on March 14th. So we're looking forward to those fundraisers, and more information will come from our 501c3 to your house in old-fashioned snail mail format as well.
Awesome, thank you. Before we move on, Ms. Beyondich, there was a good question from one of our parents in the chat, and Katie Bisson asked about the Wednesday schedule and when that'll start. So we are virtual the whole first week of the 15th. Students will follow their virtual schedule that we followed all year for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday to just keep it simple. It'll be the same times that we've had all year to log in. On Wednesday, the 17th, we start our new different Wednesday schedule. We start what Wednesdays will look like the rest of the year. So they'll have a different Zoom schedule. Teachers will share that with them and prep them and make sure that they're aware and they're ready. It'll come out in emails. And so starting on the 17th of March, every Wednesday, we'll have a Zoom schedule. Students will be required to be on Zoom and check in for the rest of the school year. So Wednesday's a virtual working Wednesday for the rest of the school year. That'll be a little bit confusing that first week. Why are we doing a different schedule of Zooms on Wednesdays when we're Zooming? And it's because the real thing that we need to establish right off the bat for the rest of the year is that Wednesday schedule, because that's what that'll look like. Does that
Thanks for clarifying. I just was thinking of how the district pattern is across other secondary schools where the Zoom Wednesdays are just for those who are staying home the 4 days a week, the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, those who are choosing the school version of a at home. So I just wanted to clarify that this is for all students on Wednesdays, including those who are coming in school. Okay.
Yeah, it's for all students for us for a number of reasons.
I like it. Thanks.
What we don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much on is, and what I told teachers, they asked, well, how would we explain this? How would we share this? And I said, just don't, is that really all students we're expecting to be online for that Zoom class for the first 10 or 15 minutes to take attendance. So we have that attendance mechanism. Teachers will share really clear direction. These are your assignments today. This is what you're doing today. Work on this and do this. Then students who are in good standing and doing, flying high academically, and they're doing fine, and they're in person, after that first 15 minutes, they may be released to go work on asynchronously. They won't be required to stay on Zoom the whole hour. However, all of our hybrid students will stay on, and any of our students who are struggling, any of our students who need more support, who need more help from the teacher, who need some one-on-one, who might, their grades might be slipping or they're just not understanding, the teacher will ask those students and the hybrid students to stay on the rest of the Zoom, and then they can work in small groups or one-on-one, put them in breakout rooms. They can check in with those hybrid students for a longer period of time, but also with the student who needs some more support. So that's sort of the idea that we had, on just getting all of our students to check in and having that continuity, having that accountability for them on Wednesday. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, and it also helps to keep our hybrid students connected with their greater community. So they'll be able to see the faces of the other students that are coming in person and maintain their relationships. So there's a number of excellent reasons for everyone Zooming in on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, Katie. Larissa Reynolds has her hand up. Ms. Reynolds?
Good morning. I was just curious. I did receive the handout in the mail that broke down everything that you just said.
Already?
Yes, I did on yesterday. Thank you. It looks great. On the Wednesday, there's 3 different times. Are they required to be in every one of those? Okay.
Yes. And like I said, that might just be a 10, 15 minute check-in.
Okay.
So
it could be the whole thing. It's okay.
and I think that Larissa, that gets at right there at why we're doing it. Cause the sense I got from parents and even from students with the Wednesdays is, being totally asynchronous this year was a lack of accountability for kids and not that they need a ton of accountability, but just that lack of a schedule and a check-in and hey, you're supposed to be doing school at this time.
Yeah,
and so,
structure.
Yep, that's exactly. And those of you that have worked with me for a while know I'm huge about structure. I preach about structure all the time. So that's exactly it. Yep, that structure that kids needed a little bit more of that. Do we still? Yes, we do. All right, I'm gonna flip to the next topic here, because I don't want to keep our first guest waiting, and we also have the presentation from East High School. I'd like to introduce George Martinez. I think I first met Mr. Martinez at the mayor's office downtown when we took our 6th graders down to present their wind turbine projects, their renewable energy projects to the mayor at the time. Mr. Martinez was working for the mayor and was super gracious host and helped coordinate it all. Someone that we've known is maybe behind the scenes a little bit, but has been a public servant and a community activist for a long time. And so George Martinez is our guest this morning. He is of course a candidate for mayor of Anchorage. And as we said at the top of the show, we don't endorse any one particular candidate. That's not what we're doing here today. But we have throughout the history, the long and storied history of morning coffee for almost a year now, we have had folks in political office and folks that work, in this capacity come on because there's such great community resources. And part of our mission and vision is engaged citizens. It's right in our mission statement to help foster engaged citizens. So Mr. Martinez, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us how we can do a better job of being an engaged citizen like you are.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity, Adam, and everyone else to be here with you all. I am a father of STrEaM students, as we all know, so I wanted to make sure that we land that plane with relevance, and absolutely am here to celebrate what folks are doing and to encourage deepening the opportunity for young people in our city to own Anchorage, to shape the future of Anchorage, and then to thrive in our city. So when I met you all, and you did come to the city hall, I was asked by the former mayor to be the special assistant for economic development, youth development, and education and diversity. Now, there's a lot of room to kind of imagine what we could do with that portfolio. But essentially, I knew that a city that has young people believing in the city, a city that can offer the opportunity for the imagination of our youth to be realized, is a city that's going to be moving forward in the right direction. And too often we found that the youth didn't necessarily have the access to being able to feel that ownership. And depending on who you were with respect to the differences across our community, resources, the different equity challenges, you were even further removed from the idea that you can own the city and that you can shape the future. So one of the things I was able to do and I wanted to bring to awareness again was the previous administration, prior to, I guess now we're into double because we have an acting time, but prior to the election of Mayor Berkowitz, the city had ended, sunsetted its Youth Advisory Commission. Now, little historical fact, former Mayor Mark Begich got his step into civic engagement and municipal processes as a member of the Youth Advisory Commission. So I just wanted to put a little footnote in how important these apparatus are for our city and the signals that it sends to the young people, whether or not we believe in them enough to continue to keep those platforms open for their growth and their development. We brought back the Youth Advisory Commission, and now that's been operating for several years. Last year was a year, obviously, it's going to require that we re-energize this as we all get back into some degree of normalcy moving forward. But then we also made Anchorage one of the first 10 cities in the country to have a youth representative on its assembly. So these are destination points for our young people. Now, my son obviously is in STrEAM and he's only 12. The Youth Commission goes from 14 to 22 years old. And the point of that was really to build a peer-to-peer cohort so that young people can also start to find each other and strengthen their voices with each other. So we had university students helping to create role modeling opportunities so that they could see themselves reflected as students in higher ed. It's one thing when we tell young folk what to do, and it's another thing, or let me say that a little more accurate to how we actually got to speak to our young people, give them direction and guidance to where they can potentially go versus when they get to see themselves doing these things, seeing pathways of what it looks like when others have achieved. And that's important for our city to really continue to stress. So I want to make sure that people do know about these things, but then also recognizing how we could deepen the opportunity for local school government, the school advisory board larger in terms of with the school district, because the school district has a model where there's a youth representative on its school board. And that's an important aspect. But there are more things we could do. And this is where I think the STrEAM Academy has been really, really cool about and important to educate the policymakers. We have to keep those doors open so that the policymakers know what ideas are coming from our young people, but also what creative innovations are coming from. And I actually think when you came with those projects, Solid Waste Services, who is looking at the climate action plan and how they could focus on reducing waste and turning some of our waste into renewable energy. They were interested in some of the work that you provided. So we should not discount the level of research and work that young students could make as a contribution to our policymaking. But keeping that space open is critical. And I'll give another area of investment that I think is important, that I want to just make sure people do know about, and then turn it over to any questions of ways that we can continue to deepen our community's partnership with our schools specifically. I had a vision of creative placemaking with artists and with youth, with the idea of having young people be able to see their talent reflected in the city in a public way, but then also be able to grow this idea of responsibility and stewardship for the public sphere. I know this is an important value of the school, but how do you take that out to every school and give every young person an opportunity to see this? Well, the easiest way that I saw was when the city shifted from basket trash cans to bear-proof trash cans downtown. And this is just a demonstration of the low-hanging fruit, the creative things we could do with just a little innovation and our open minds. We changed those basket trash cans to bear-proof trash cans, primarily as a way to stop transient and homeless people from digging into the trash cans. It was directly raw. It wasn't because we had a lot of bears downtown, although there had been a bear sighting or two from Government Hill walking across the way. But when I walked past those trash cans, I saw the ugliness in the browns scattering all over downtown. And the plan was to keep rolling these out on all sorts of corners. But what I really saw was an opportunity for engaging youth, young people, and creatives into placemaking. As you well know, downtown, we now have over probably 24 youth painted trash cans with the prospects of having 4 more years of at least 10 cans a year coming from ASD in partnership with the school district, in partnership with the downtown partnership, and with Solid Waste Services. Now, I was able to build that with some vision, but put it in a place where it transcends my time. I'm not in the mayor's office anymore. I work for the Humanities Forum now as the director of leadership and youth programs. And this is still running. Now, when we're done in 5 years, young people in our city will have the opportunity, and their families will say, we own these pieces of downtown. Now, these cans have also mitigated graffiti vandalism, and that's another story to be told on a different day. But there are opportunities like that in our community. And I'll give one right here in our immediate vicinity on Muldoon. There's an opportunity for a creative placemaking mural on the side of the tire shop right next to the Chanchnu Muldoon Park. And that tire shop has given us that opportunity, and the Boys and Girls Club and other young people in our community. So I would just encourage that the school knows, that the school works with the community council as well, but begin to push forward. How can our young people get involved? How can we also create place? And then how could we tell those stories so that the policymakers know, that the public knows as well? So Baltazar is exactly right. I was picturing it, but I forgot the name this morning. And so I'll stop there. I just know that there's tremendous opportunity for engagement, both in terms of what schools could do in their local vicinity, but how we can collaborate at higher levels with different partnerships, like with Solid Waste Services, like with Downtown Partnership, to begin to, and the museum is involved in this as well, because we all know when Youth Art Month happens, these trash cans have now begun to be on exhibit. So our young people are now fine artists as well. And those are the things that I want them to earn and to learn about, and just to keep an opportunity open for policymakers to know what else we could do together. So your research matters, your creativity matters, and your investment into ownership of our young people in our city is critical to all of us.
Thank you.
Any questions about anything? I would love to hear what more we potentially could do.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. It's really interesting to me how the things that you just spoke about align so closely with what we do as a school, with what our core values are as a school, which tells me we're on the right path. The idea of placemaking and ownership in the place that we live is so important to STrEAM Academy, from building birdhouses and putting birdhouses all through Arnold Muldoon Park.
Yes.
We formally adopted Muldoon Park. So our students are in that park literally every day, and they're caretakers of the park.
Yes.
Our 7th grade class had a project on placemaking and how you save or preserve, protect a place that's important to you, and had students identify places that are important to them, and do some research on different ways that you can take ownership and responsibility for places you love. And I think there's something really inherently powerful in giving students and giving people, helping them to take ownership of a place. Because then you take that responsibility, and you mentioned the reduction in vandalism. Once you feel ownership of a place, you take care of that place and you protect that place. It's a powerful concept. So
that's right. Well, and I would deepen that with saying that the relationship of ownership in our city meets in ancestral stewardship of our indigenous place. Those things are powerful and important to grow. We are in a city that is on indigenous lands, and I give that land acknowledgement in all of my events and public forums. But there's a particular important bond of recognizing that, so that when we're talking about ownership and placemaking, we're also not talking about there's a frame around that's really important called decolonization, right? And the idea that we have the ability to find and to understand the equity challenges as we talk about shared ownership and shared responsibility. And I think that's really important. And on Muldoon, we have a unique opportunity because we are in the shadow of the Alaska Native Heritage Center, and we are in a park that has been appropriately named by an ancestral name.
I did put a link to the Youth Advisory Commission in the YouTube and in the chat box here on Zoom. So if people are interested, they can click on that link.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing today. Thank you for sharing that you're a STrEAM parent. I normally I'm a little hesitant to share that when someone's on as a guest without their permission, because it's actually not my place to advertise that unless you decide to. So we are blessed to have you and your wife as STrEAM parents.
We are proud to be here, and I just share one of the beautiful things about our school district is the options for families. That at least we've found options that are unique and that speak to our unique needs and interests and our sons and our children. So we have 2 little ones in the school district. One goes to Government Hill at Spanish Immersion, and then our son who goes to STrEAM. But our son had been a family partnership student for many years because of the ability for the school district to give us options that now we found his journey landed a little more squarely with the mission of STrEAM, and we were fortunate enough to get in. And so I want to see that we continue to at least learn from these charters and learn from how we can improve overall delivery for all of our students across the district. We are privileged to be a part of this family, and we recognize that. But I want to make sure that every child has the opportunity to have ownership and to deepen their relationship through hands-on engagement, both around civic ownership, but also the stewardship that's so important to our environment.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to our next guest, Principal McKelkey.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Martinez. Thank you for joining us. And we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you being here with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Best of luck on the next steps.
I'll see you at the Peter Pit.
All right. That's right. Put in that plug for, is it March 28th, Sylvia? March 28th, go to Pita Pit. Everyone's got to eat at Pita Pit March 28th.
Look, you don't have to invite me. It's food. So,
Chris, you and I will meet there.
right after church, sure will.
All right. The next piece of our show today is transitioning into talking about options for 8th graders moving on into high school. We have some incredible guests. Miss Bonertz is going to lead this part of the show. And we've got First Sergeant Watts with us today. We've got Counselor Mr. Robert Everett with us today. And I'm going to turn it over to them to talk about 8th grade options in East High School.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I would like to introduce two gentlemen that are not only parents of STrEAM students, but also just incredible help to me. I call Robbie all the time and I'm like, Robbie, I don't know how to do this. And he helps me all the time. And First Sergeant Watts is always willing to help. So please let me introduce you to First Sergeant Watts of the JROTC program at East High and Counselor Robbie Everett. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us, Robbie. You want to do a brief overview? You want to wait till after I'm done?
No, jump right in there.
Cool. Robbie Everett is a huge advocate of our program. There we talk several times a week about the students and what they need to do. So it's a partnership that the program has with all of our counselors at East High School. Without a good career development team, and counseling is part of that, without a good career development team, kids are missing opportunities. And that's what the counseling business is about. It was like that in the military as well. You know, if you're not giving potential every opportunity to achieve at the next level, you are cheating them dramatically out of that. So I'm going to start with a video and we'll get into, if I could get share capabilities, Miss B, I'd sure appreciate it. Let me get.
You should. I made you a co-host for Sergeant Watts. You should be able to share.
So I will get that now. And this time, I remember the first time we tried this, I was unfamiliar with Zoom, so I'm a little better at it now.
There are things that students can do that they've never done before. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to have new experiences. They want to have challenges. They want to see the world in a different light, but in a safe environment, but they still want to stretch the limits.
We want them to understand the country and what it's about, where we're at, where we're going, that they're an integral part of it, and they can make a difference for themselves, their community, and our nation.
What single high school activity today is responsible for dramatically changing the lives of so many young people? Where are high school students learning valuable lessons in leadership, integrity, honesty, commitment, citizenship, and respect? And where are instructors using dynamic methods of teaching, focusing on the way students learn and applying those skills in and out of the classroom? The answer: Army Junior ROTC. JROTC is about belonging to a diverse organization made up of students, instructors, and parents committed to excellence in teaching and learning skills that will last a lifetime. JROTC is not about joining the military. Rather, it's about doing your best and being recognized for it. Junior ROTC offers each cadet a chance to excel, an opportunity to participate, the prospect for success in and out of the classroom.
What I like the most about it is that it teaches me dedication. It keeps me motivated in school, not only in just JROTC. Because, I mean, you have to be a leader. You have to stick out. You can't, like, live in your own comfort zone. You have to learn to step outside of the box sometimes.
JROTC has been a positive force in our communities, families, and schools, and there is no cost to enroll. At the core of the JROTC curriculum is the development of citizenship, leadership, academic excellence, and character development. Citizenship includes respect, honesty, and integrity. Leadership and teamwork skills help students develop character. As a result, cadets often emerge as leaders in their classes and other school organizations. In addition to classroom instruction and activities, cadets also compete with other schools, perform ceremonial presentations, mentor and tutor other students in various grade levels, and are active in service to their communities. High school JROTC instructors are retired officers and non-commissioned officers who come from a wide array of experiences, locations, and specialties, thus adding to the diversity of the program.
JROTC offers students a wide variety of experiences, whether they're interested in pursuing a career in the military or not. The opportunity to be part of a team, the opportunity to learn character, the opportunity to practice citizenship. Those are all fundamental activities that JROTC offers for students, regardless of what their career choices may be, whether it's the military or civilian life.
A common thread that runs through JROTC is the willingness to embrace improved learning and teaching techniques and strategies. JROTC is on the leading edge of new methods for preparing its cadets in this new century. Instructors use contemporary technologies and models to enhance their teaching, learning, and listening skills. The results are evident in the classroom. Students often see their grades improve in many of their regular classes due to a broadened perspective gained from their connection with JROTC.
By the end of the first year, they are all above a 3.0. And it is not that I'm a great teacher. It's the curriculum and the structure that we put them through that makes them proud of who they are.
When the kids walk into my class, right behind me, the first thing they'll see is up on the board, it's not how smart I am, but it's how I am smart. And it's my responsibility to find that, to help them identify that, and then nurture that so we can bring out their talents.
JROTC's curriculum includes a cross-section of subjects that support and amplify existing high school studies, including history, math, science, geography, civics, written and oral communications, and life and work skills. JROTC's only expectation of cadets is that they do their best, that they practice integrity with their peers, parents, teachers, and society, and that they participate in a spirit of willingness. From that grows a common goal among cadets: leadership excellence.
JROTC has helped me in several ways. I'd say probably the biggest way it's helped me is learning to manage my time better. That has really helped, especially now that as we're getting older, we're taking more advanced classes with more and more demand. Managing your time becomes extremely important in high school, and not only high school, but later on in life.
I'm an advocate for these kids because I think what we're seeing is really bright, innovative young people that have learned an entirely new style. And in fact, many of our best and brightest young people have learned, I would say, despite an old educational system that was really built for students 30 years ago and has been reluctant to change. So I'm really encouraged about the future because I think what we're seeing is young people, the next generation, learning to teach themselves.
I believe that the need for JROTC is paramount for our students in today's educational system. The opportunity they learn as JROTC students in character development, leadership development, and preparation for college is a vital role that they serve in our students' education today.
So I'd like to go ahead and roll right into my little piece here that I put together the last time we had gotten together. And again, I've gotten so much better at this. So this is the team at East. I'm trying to move a screen out of the way there. That's the team that is the JROTC team at East. So that's my new grandbaby. There on the far left, that's my new grandbaby. I saw him almost a year ago. As a matter of fact, a year ago today was when I was there in Maryland visiting him and my son. Of course, that's Andrew holding up my swag from the 3rd Regiment Old Guard. I was made an honorary member of the 3rd Regiment. The Tomb of the Unknowns is part of that detail. I'm now an honorary member of the Old Guard. And of course, my awesome wife and those kids down there in the bottom right, and that's the team, the instructor team in the middle there. So we're pretty proud of what we got. So what does this mean for an 8th grader going to be a 9th grader coming to high school? So we're going to welcome them into JROTC. You'll notice the bold print that I've got there. Nothing we say or do has a maybe, has a might be, has a can be. This is what will happen for a young man or a young lady who wants to take JROTC. Success is part of our name. You can't help but be part of anything that we do, and as you see there's a couple of events there. Those are all competitive events, and we play hard, and we wear those uniforms hard. I mean, the kids are really remarkable when they put those uniforms on. The objective here is to get them ready for next level events. That's why they will learn things that will give them advantages in school and the real world. So if I got parents on here at any time, you can stop and ask a question. This looks like this particular little picture here is what the kids get at the beginning of a lesson. So there's an essential question, and I put over on the little Post-it note for my parent to write down the essential question. Why should your student take JROTC? And when I'm done with the next 6 slides, we'll have an answer for that. Okay, all right, we'll have an answer for that. Why should your student take JROTC? This is a worldwide program. Every high school in Anchorage is fortunate enough to have this program. There are another 8 programs statewide. Colony has 2 of them, an Army and an Air Force program. Fairbanks has 3 of them, a Marine Corps, 2 Air Force, and an Army program. And Bethel, Alaska has an Army JROTC program. As you can see, over 3,000 schools, and that's worldwide, not nationwide. All of the, a lot of the Department of Defense schools at locations where there are military bases, there are junior ROTC programs associated with those schools, Air Force, Army, Navy, in our overseas locations. Guam, Philippines, and American Samoa are partnerships in the same general area that East is in, along with Hawaii, Puerto Rico. They're all part of the 8th Brigade. As you can see, we carry the line, we being the Army, carry the lion's share of cadets enrolled in junior ROTC. That's 300,000 Army JROTC cadets. That's worldwide. There are better than 30,000 Army JROTC instructors, officers, non-commissioned officers, all retired. The schools that have these are funded by the government in partnership with the school districts. So they are schools that wanted to have the programs there. There are schools currently on the list. There are over 5,000 schools in the continental US that have petitioned for this program to open at their schools. And it takes a real effort on communities and the school district to get these programs into their schools. So this is the kind of stuff that the kids get to do, and I'm very proud of this particular announcement here, because this is considerably more up to date and relevant. That STEM stuff that you see over there is growing by leaps and bounds. We have at East High School, we have received 7 robotics kits, and I believe First Sergeant Lobato got in some other technology kits that boosts our curriculum. So our goal is to be relevant in our education system today, and we all know how important STEM is in our learning. So I was really happy to see that part of it begin to take off. I am not one of the instructors on this particular lesson. The STEM stuff the kids start to see in their second year. I'm like the foundation guy. I'm not the kids' basic training instructor, but I am the foundational trendsetter for the young men and women that join the program early on. So cadets who have been in 2 years or more are kind of their models and mentors for the program. But all of that you see on this screen, we excel at as a program statewide. I won't just brag on East High School. If your student is at any of the high schools, the Anchorage School District high schools here locally, we have 3 other Air Force schools, west, south, Eagle River, and the 2 Navy schools, Service and Chugiak. The Army schools are Bartlett, East, and Diamond. Your child is going to a quality program with some awesome officers and non-commissioned officers running those programs. And your child will find a niche. I guarantee it. I typically tell the kids that we will find the thing that you're good at, make us better as a team, and make sure you are recognized for it. That is how we think, that is how we work. So it is truly an honor to teach the class. So the history of JROTC goes back to the National Defense Act of 1916, which did several things, but in our realm, started junior ROTC. And then my timeline there goes through 2017. So that 1709 is closer to 1900 units worldwide for Army junior ROTC. And it's pretty extensive. Imagine 1916, here we are on the verge of actually World War I, and the government says we're going to need to bolster our military. Well, that tune has changed. We're not drafting kids. We're not training kids for military service. We want them prepared to compete at every level. Interesting to see how the other services jumped on board in '64. They were, you know how money works. And at the government level, at echelons above reality, as we call it, they saw the benefit of having this program spread throughout schools and services. Interesting that females didn't join until 1973. And it just became the activity and event for all students to be part of. So we celebrated 100 years back in 2016. So it's going strong. So our outcomes. This is what we want the program to give a young man and a young woman, right? There are things that you're going to need to be able to not just be competitive as an individual, but understand what a team looks like succeeding. And all these things speak to the individual's development within a team. Most importantly is I feel is the graduating prepared to succeed in post-secondary options and career paths. Not everybody's going to college. Not everybody's going to the military, but we're going to get you to a post-secondary option and find and help you find the way to that career path you'd like to get into. on my screen, am I blocking the last, can everybody see the whole slide? Okay, great. Cool. All right. So challenges and opportunities. Okay, as the premier leadership and character development class, we are into challenging the student. We feel that, and not just we feel, but as a program similar to the Military Foundation, sharpening your communication skills and being able to strengthen self-esteem and boost self-confidence are huge in your development, not only as a soldier so that you can become that senior leader, but as a young man or young woman who wants to make a difference in what's going to happen, and not only in your world, but in the world around you. And we are very, very conscious-minded about the students' contribution in our communities. Mr. George mentioned that hard work that he's done over the years while working in the mayor's office. I had the opportunity to participate in a function a couple years ago, and I got a chance to speak to a small group of young men that had come to a conference that he set up. And so we are in line with that. We believe that that the kids must be challenged. We want them to realize their individual potential and how it affects the team's result moving forward. So we want them engaged in what we're doing. Yes, there's a little physical fitness involved. The kids will earn at East High School anyway. 2 years of junior ROTC will give the young man or young woman their physical education credit. So they will earn double credit. They'll earn elective credit, and then they'll earn their PE credit. 2 successful years of JROTC. And yes, we get a chance to do a little exercise once a week together as a group with some really good tools that they've given us to do. So I have a lot of fun doing that with the kids.
That's an incredible program that you guys have built at Betty Davis East High School.
Yes.
I remember I said East High School multiple times today, and I apologize. I'm super, super proud. Betty Davis is a personal hero of mine. I got to speak at a conference with her when she spoke once, and was just kind of blown away to be in her presence. So I need to make myself a note to remember to say Betty Davis East High School. Thank you so much for Sergeant Watts. That's an incredible program and an incredible opportunity for our students who are transitioning to East, and just a great way to start off high school and integrate yourself into high school.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you so much. I also want to give Mr. Everett a moment. Mr. Everett, do you want to share some more about East High School and the options and what it looks like for students that are transitioning into East?
Yes, absolutely. Let me get this to my correct, let me get this to the slideshow, and we'll just do a really quick one. First off, the proof is in the pudding. So I want to just supplement First Sergeant's points. Successful students come from successful programs. And I've been doing this 30 years. And as much as people want to wave signs or tout or toot their own horn or whatever, the proof is in the pudding. So you look at what students are coming out of programs. And JROTC, I wish every one of my freshmen could be in JROTC because they graduate. They graduate from high school. They come out with some skill sets that they can take to anywhere. There are some other amazing programs that do the same thing at East, but definitely our JROTC program is one of those that puts out successful students. I think 2 words come into mind. Students that come through the JROTC program understand the importance of responsibility for something and responsibility to something or someone. And I can't say that about many of our students. They go through life not having responsibilities for things or to things, and they don't feel like they have to answer to anyone. And so I really appreciate those skill sets that I really see coming through that. So let's look at my conversation just for a couple of minutes. Is it really is about needs? Unfortunately, we don't really market this well and what needs we're talking about. We definitely have a need to graduate, but there's more than that. We have a need. Graduation is not the end of our life, and so we have a need beyond. Sadly, over the years, we've gotten away from kind of a 4+ year plan, or what we used to call the SEOP or SEP plan. And I just would like to encourage people, even though the school district may not be doing that, to really do it yourself. As parents and as educators, encourage students to think that, we're really beginning with the end in mind. Or as my dentist used to say, only brush the teeth you intend to keep. So going on, we do have a need to graduate. Definitely that is a focus. In fact, First Sergeant and I have conversations. Hey, I'm going to have to pull this kid if they can't get their self-organized, because I cannot schedule them to not graduate. My job is to schedule them to graduate, advise them, and help them reach that goal. Definitely that's a focus for our school district, and our school is to help students meet their needs to graduate. However, again, if we just were all high school graduates, that would be great, but we want them to be contributors. Like your focus of your school is, we want them to be engaged, involved in the community. Mr. Martinez came and spoke to my students with Back on Track. I teach night school at Back on Track at Covenant House, and he was very encouraging, but we have to help students realize that we have a need for what's next, whether that's college or whether it's career preparation. That is a need that's as important, I think, as graduation, because I don't need one more graduate who is not going to contribute to our community. Next thing, we definitely have a need. We would be a really boring human race if we didn't develop our talents and to become a better human being. So there is a very important need there to develop those. And the other one is, we have a need to become, like I've mentioned, contributors. We need to learn to be, how do we do our service, our participation, our involvement to our community, which, as a side note, does help our resume, but that's not really the reason we do it. We have those definite needs. We should ask ourselves, what are these people? We basically are making a product. What are the consumers of our product, our students, looking for? I don't need another dentist that says, oopsie, in the middle of a procedure, or a pilot that says, oh, dang, I just messed up. We want to provide, what are they looking for? So those are some good questions. For freshman scheduling next year, Ms. Bonners is going to be sending out information for Zoom links for East High's freshman orientation on the 16th and the 18th of March. Please understand, you may not get your electives. Freshmen, again, should be planning out, if I can't do this year, what would I do next year, junior year, senior year? I have 4 years to plan and kind of think about that. For the first 3 years, you have 4 cores, so you're really only getting 2 electives. As a senior, if you're trying to get the Alaska Performance Scholarship or you're college bound, you really have another 4 cores because I've been to a lot of colleges myself, and as much as students and parents think, colleges still would like 4 English, 4 math, 4 science, and 4 social studies. Again, begin with the end in mind. Passing your core classes is critical and the best way to get the electives you want, because if you don't pass your core class, you're taking away an elective to retake that core class. Please visit the website for activities and clubs. We have a very, as the district likes to use the word robust now, it's their favorite word. We have a very robust website at East, and there's so much information that does not get utilized by parents and students that's available to you. Please use the resources that are available to you. And finally, again, the information for the freshman orientation, March 16th and 18th, those links will be shared with you. Thank you. If you have any questions, please contact me. I'm the department chair at East. We have 10 counselors, but I can direct you where you need to be or answer your questions.
Thank you so much.
That's getting up to my stop share.
Thank you so much, Mr. Everett. We really appreciate it.
That was fast. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I have one thing I'd like you to comment on. Our goal at STrEAM Academy is, as a STEM school, is for our students to be accelerated in math. And my stated goal since we opened the school is for every student to at least complete algebra by 8th grade. And I talk with parents and students a lot about the impact of completing algebra in 8th grade rather than doing it in high school, especially at a big high school like East, where it's algebra is sort of a gatekeeper class for a lot of things. Can you speak to that, to what I, reinforce hopefully what I say about how important it is to finish algebra in 8th grade and be able to go into geometry and go into higher math when you hit high school?
Math is where you make it or break it, bottom line. And it's not the math so much. I'm an application math. I taught in the classroom for 15 years as a biologist, social biology, evolutionary ecology, that kind of thing, but also taught chemistry. Math is critical because of the problem solving skills. It teaches you to think and you become a problem solver. We don't sit around the table talking about math theory often, but we do solve problems each day. So bottom line, I think that's a great plan. Many of my students have to retake Algebra 1. However, having seen it before makes them a much better Algebra 1 student. It builds their foundation and allows them to be successful. To support your point, the goal is to not just pass a math class, but to set yourself up so that you can be successful in the next math class. And that's probably the hardest conversation I have to have with students and parents each year. It's not that I just completed a class, it's that I'm ready for the next class.
Absolutely.
And I think the challenge too that most freshmen have is the pacing that they have to learn quickly at high school. They present lots of material, lots more than often is presented at middle school, and you have to do a lot of homework. And so if I don't get it done, I am behind the next day. And that's the biggest thing that they don't understand. So having Algebra 1 skills coming to high school will definitely help set them up. If they don't have good Algebra 1 skills, they won't be successful in chemistry. I don't let my students take physics until they've completed Algebra 2 because proof is in the pudding. They don't pass it. They don't do well. Even though it's just a recommendation, I say, you got to do it first. So great point. I'd encourage that. Again, it's problem solving skills that crosses barriers or boundaries into every single subject area.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I wish you had been my counselor in high school because I was placed in physics before I could completed Algebra 2.
And so you know what I'm talking about.
And
it's the truth.
That is the single most difficult class I've ever had, college or high school. The single hardest time I've ever had in a class was physics in high school when I had just gone through geometry. I hadn't done Algebra 2 yet. So if we could go back in time and you could talk with my counselor, we could have fixed that and saved me a lot of heartache.
Yeah, to quickly answer Ivy's question in the chat, absolutely. If you're planning on going on, everybody should have chemistry. A lot of people don't believe that, but I've had fellowships at Princeton and Cornell, and bottom line is if you don't take chemistry, you're going to take it again in college, but you're either going to then be crying in college because you haven't seen it, or you'll be looking at your classmates wondering, well, if you would have had this in high school, this would be a lot easier on their dime. So that's my advice to students. Yes, after they've had Algebra 1 skills, they can do their stoichiometry and their gas laws, and it'll work out fine.
So now students that aren't zoned for East High School, if they want to choose East High School, they have to fill out a lottery application, right?
They can fill it out. They will get into East. Anybody who wants to come to East, please come to East. I'll probably get in trouble, but this is my 30th year. And I have not worked with a better group of educators ever collectively. We have some amazing educators at East, and there are great opportunities for students. And being still the most ethnically diverse high school in the entire United States currently, that's new, still current data. There are some great cards to play having that in your resume as well. I think that's what makes East really a rich environment is our diversity and our willingness to work together. People are championing students, trying to encourage them. But, our physics professor Mr. Hood, he's not a professor, but he should be, is amazing. Our chemistry teachers are amazing. Our math department's amazing. Of course, you know about First Sergeant Watts, but across the board, my youngest son went there. He's doing well. He's pulling A's in college, and he had an East Foundation.
Yeah, both
Did I say we were the best Army JROTC unit in the state? Okay.
Yeah, and nationally recognized rifle team.
Yeah, both of my students went to East High School. We had to zone in because we didn't live in the East zone. And my daughter was on the riflery team, and she actually is now getting her master's degree in public health. She had a great foundation from East High School.
I've been a lot of places, and you can find a great education if you want to. So there you go. Questions, you can email me. I know I've gone over, but email me questions. I'll be happy to address them. So will First Sergeant, and we'd love to see you at East.
We love East High School. Thank you, First Sergeant Watts. Thank you, Mr. Everett. It's an incredible presentation. I hope all of our 8th grade families got a chance to tune in today or watch on YouTube or get to watch later on YouTube. Such great options, such an amazing school, East High School. We're very proud to be to share being an East Anchorage school and to feed into East and to send our students to East. So that's awesome. Great opportunities. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Quick plug for the lottery. The lottery is open. It closes on the 18th of March, and we're still looking for some lottery applications to come in. So spread the good word about STrEAM Academy. Got through spring break, and then that first week of the quarter before we close up the lottery, we'll do spend some time after the lottery closes and adjusting as accordingly, and then notifications will go out on the 26th. Speaking of honoring diversity and honoring East Anchorage, we are the only charter school in the Anchorage School District with a neighborhood preference. If you are zoned for Bartlett or East, if you're zoned for Clark or Begich, that means you're an East Anchorage student. In terms of school district designations, you get a neighborhood preference. So if you're in the lottery and you're zoned for an East Anchorage school and you're competing with a student zoned in South Anchorage, and it comes down to that last lottery spot, that East Anchorage zoned student gets the neighborhood preference. Or the only school in the district, that charter school, that gives neighborhood preference, because our charter, our mission vision, our charter states that we are dedicated to East Anchorage, that will remain in East Anchorage. We're a charter school to serve the East Anchorage community, along with the rest of the district and the rest of Anchorage School District, of course, but definitely that emphasis on our East Anchorage families having more opportunities. Ms. Bonertz is sharing lots of important information in the chat that we can touch on as well. Next week on morning coffee, there's no morning coffee unless y'all really want to have coffee with me over spring break. I mean, I can do that. You know, I'll be around. So there's no morning coffee scheduled at the moment for next Wednesday, but we will return. Morning coffee will make a return for fourth quarter on the 17th of March. And at that time, we have Highland and Stellar coming on to talk about their programs. And we'll also have an update from our 501c3 about spring fundraising options. Don't forget to go to Pita Pit on March 28th. Proceeds will go to STrEAM Academy. So I'm hoping there's lots of Pita Pit action on the 28th of March. Tell all your friends. If you got an office party scheduled, if you're the department chair and you have 10 counselors, you might want to go buy Pita Pit for all the counselors. Yeah, just hypothetically. Good
point. Yep.
I can think of lots of ways we can spend some money at Pita Pit that benefit our 501c3. If you're on Amazon, you use Amazon a lot. Go to Amazon Smile, unless you already have a favorite charity close to your heart designated, in which case, by all means, support that charity. If you don't, go to Amazon Smile and select STrEAM Anchorage, and you get every time you shop at Amazon, you get a little kickback to STrEAM that way. And then the Fred Meyer Rewards program, you can designate a school to benefit or a nonprofit to benefit from your Fred Meyer Rewards. Go to your Fred Meyer Rewards online and pick STrEAM Anchorage. So all little ways that you can contribute to us eventually building our own beautiful facility in East Anchorage, which is our dream. So yeah, thank you. What else do we have before we wrap up today, Ms. Beyondich?
We will make sure to remind students about the East High Open House, which is they either attend on March 16th or March 18th. So we will remind them on the 17th if they missed it on the night before to attend on the 18th. We got your back, Mr. Everett.
Thank you. And let me just take just a second to address a question that Ms. Bonnert's also had come her way. We trust you as to where you place your students on your math and everything else. But the question is a good question to ask. Sometimes students forget, again, we want you to do well. We want them to get A's and B's in those classes so they move on. So it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not feeling real confident. Maybe I want to retake that. But again, talk to your counselor, Ms. Bonnert's, and she will recommend with the math teacher, and we trust you 100%.
Thank you. Yes, we have students complete algebra and we even have students complete geometry, but ultimately that the determination on what you take in high school is the recommendation from the math teacher and the counselor. One of the things we do with our algebra and geometry students is we give that district final to make sure that, to have that extra spot check to make sure you're ready. And so, if you pass that district final with flying colors, that goes a long way towards, us making that advanced recommendation. And another thing we do is all of our students are double blocked in ALEX. The online math curriculum. ALEX is a robust, Common Core aligned online math curriculum. It can be a standalone math curriculum, but we use it as a supplement. So if you've done geometry or algebra and geometry with us, and you've also completed the entire course on ALEX, you've essentially double completed it, which gives that, again, that tells us, that another level to be sure that you're ready for algebra and geometry. But like Mr. Everett said, the worst case scenario, I think, if you do algebra in 8th grade, and then do algebra again in high school, there's nothing wrong with that. It means you're going to be at the top of your class. It means you're going to be really prepared for high school algebra, and you're not going to struggle. You're not going to sink. You're not going to be in over your head. So if that's the worst thing that happens with us in terms of getting a student through algebra, is that they take it again in high school and they get A's and they have a good experience, I think that's a great way to go. So. All right, we'll wrap up for today. Thanks again to our guest today. George Martinez is just an incredible advocate for youth, for our community, for diversity, and no matter how the race goes or whatever he ends up doing, I'm sure he'll continue to make a positive impact in our community. Thank you again to Mr. Everett and First Sergeant Watts for joining us today. It's been a great morning coffee. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy spring break, and we'll see you all back here around March 17th.